The first official parliamentary audit of the Park Geun-hye administration began on Monday. 16 National Assembly standing committees will inspect more than 600 government agencies. Both ruling and opposition parties say the goal of the inspection is to enhance the livelihoods of the people, but a sharp battle is expected. Our Kim In-kyung has more.
The ruling Saenuri Party said the first parliamentary inspection of the Park Geun-hye government must show that the National Assembly is hardworking and focused on improving people's livelihoods. At a party Supreme Council meeting on Monday, Saenuri Party Chairman Hwang Woo-yeol said Democratic Party Chief Kim Han-gil suggested a parliamentary audit that goes beyond criticism and proposes alternatives. He said the Saenuri Party must follow such views. Floor Leader Choi Kyung-hwan said the ruling camp will thoroughly inspect government agencies to see if their policymaking is based on a firm understanding of the administration's philosophy. He said the party will keep three principles in mind: people's livelihoods, the economy, and jobs. Main opposition Democratic Party Chairman Kim Han-gil also said his party will do its best to stabilize people's livelihoods and refrain from political disputes, but stressed the role of parliamentary inspections is to observe and check the government. Kim said at the Democratic Party Supreme Council meeting Monday that in just 8 months, the Park Geun-hye government has backed away from more than 50 of its core pledges, including basic pension and child care plans. He said the Park government's state affairs are headed for chaos. Kim said he will respond firmly if the Saenuri Party tries to hide the Park government's misdeeds with lies and political bickering. He said the Democratic Party will not just point blame, but propose alternatives to achieve economic democratization and expanded welfare. Meanwhile, Saenuri Party floor leader Choi proposed a joint proclamation by the heads and floor leaders of the ruling and opposition parties to stop political wrangling and focus on enhancing people's livelihoods. But the Democratic Party rejected the proclamation, saying it doesn't believe the ruling party is sincere. It asked the Saenuri Party to concentrate on inspecting government agencies, even though it's the ruling party. Kim In-kyung, KBS World Radio News.
Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se says the government will not tolerate Japan's rearmament. Yoon spoke about South Korea's position on Japan's aim to exercise the right of collective self-defense on Monday during a parliamentary inquiry of his ministry. He said South Korea is not the only country with concerns over Japan's rearmament, adding Tokyo should address the issue in a way that dispels neighboring countries' concerns. Earlier this month, the U.S. officially announced its support for Japan's pursuit of the right to exercise collective self-defense in a meeting of their foreign and defense ministers in Tokyo. Minister Yoon commented that Washington is not entrusting Japan with a blank check. He said the U.S. supports Japan only within the scope of the U.S.-Japanese Security Treaty. The government says it has identified 15 nuclear facilities in North Korea. The Unification Ministry says that as of August this year, the existence of 15 North Korean nuclear facilities was confirmed, and the well-known nuclear site Yongbyon in North Pyongan Province is home to most of them. The Yongbyon complex includes 2 nuclear reactors, a nuclear power generator, a reprocessing facility, a uranium enrichment facility, a fuel rod manufacturing facility, and a nuclear fuel storage facility. Seoul has also identified a 200-megawatt nuclear power generator is in Taechon, North Pyongan Province, and a subcritical nuclear facility is in Pyongyang. But the ministry said it has not obtained detailed information on the number of people working at those nuclear sites.
You're now listening to the news from KBS World Radio's News Center in Seoul, Korea.
The previous government's energy policy to expand the supply of nuclear power will undergo a sweeping revision. A private-public consultation group on drafting the nation's basic energy plan says it prepared a second draft of the plan and recommended it to the government. The working group recommended the government lower the ratio of power generated by nuclear energy from the 41% target by 2035 in the first draft to a range between 22 and 29%. The head of the group, Kim Chong-sub, says the new draft plan has provided a directional guide on the nation's nuclear power policy and more detailed action plans that will be included in the upcoming basic plan on power supply and demand. He said such plans will concern whether to shut down outdated nuclear plants and to scrap construction plans for new ones. The consultation group also recommended raising electricity costs to reduce the nation's reliance on electricity and lowering the cost of other energy sources such as oil and liquefied natural gas. The government will hold public hearings twice through November to gather public and expert opinions before finalizing a plan in December based on the working group's recommendations. Anti-nuclear groups such as Energy Justice Actions have criticized the draft plan, saying a 22 to 29% ratio of nuclear energy still means more nuclear power plants will be built. Prosecutors say they have discovered information related to accounting fraud and tax evasion on a USB confiscated from conglomerate Hyosung Group. The Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office says it found the device last month during a tax probe of the conglomerate, which is being investigated over tax evasion allegations. The USB is believed to contain information proving Hyosung evaded hundreds of billions of won in corporate taxes by engaging in 1 trillion won worth of accounting fraud to cover up losses its foreign businesses took on since 1998. The USB is also believed to contain reports to Hyosung Chairman Cho Suk-rae about the fraud. The prosecution plans to summon Hyosung officials for questioning as soon as it finishes analyzing the USB and other data confiscated from a raid of the conglomerate's headquarters last Friday. The prosecution is expected to summon an executive named Go, who is known to have written documents in the USB. They plan to ask Go if the documents were indeed reported to Chairman Cho. The prosecution also plans to review investigation information on Hyosung from 2008 and 2009 before determining a final plan for further investigation. Trial procedures began Monday for 4 people arrested on treason charges, including minor opposition lawmaker Lee Seok-gi. The Suwon District Court says preparations for the trial of Representative Lee, Gyeonggi Progressives Alliance advisor Lee Song-ho, and 2 others began at 2 p.m. at the Suwon Court. Prosecutors from the Suwon District Prosecutor's Office and Lee Seok-gi's lawyers went to the court to discuss the legal issues of the case and to determine a trial schedule. They'll also discuss witness selection from a list that includes a 46-year-old who's believed to have leaked information about a secret gathering in May where Lee and others allegedly plotted to overthrow the government. At the meeting of the so-called Revolutionary Organization, participants allegedly claimed a war is imminent and discussed ways to destroy key state infrastructure. The court turned down prosecutors' earlier request that trial procedures take place behind closed doors in fear of resistance by Unified Progressive Party members.
You're now listening to the news from KBS World Radio's News Center in Seoul, Korea.
Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Hyun Oh-suk says the U.S. will be careful in its withdrawal of quantitative easing measures. Hyun told reporters in Washington the U.S. is well aware of what impact its stimulus drawdown will have on emerging economies. The minister is visiting the U.S. Capitol to attend the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The U.S. Federal Reserve has been releasing $85 billion per month into the market to stimulate the economy, a measure known as quantitative easing. But the U.S. Central Bank is expected to begin easing this policy in the near future. Minister Hyun also said there's nothing decided yet on whether to join the U.S.-led Trans-Pacific Partnership, but when negotiations begin to take shape next year, South Korea will have to make a decision. A U.S. market researcher forecasts South Korea's smartphone market will see negative growth this year. Strategy Analytics said Monday the market is expected to drop 14% to 26.3 million units this year from 30.7 million last year. This will be the first time for the smartphone market to shrink since Apple unveiled the first iPhone in 2007. The South Korean smartphone market was around 200,000 units in 2007, but began to grow explosively in 2010 to reach 6.9 million units. In 2011, the number was 17.5 million. Strategy Analytics says Korea's smartphone market will grow between next year and 2018, but not at the 30 million unit level like 2012. Industry watchers blame the fall on market saturation, the sophistication of smartphones, and regulations on subsidies provided by mobile carriers to customers. The Financial Times says South Korea is facing a new challenge due to a series of bankruptcies on top of its excessive household debt. The British financial newspaper said Uri Bank and the state-run Korea Development Bank are seeing bank loans jump as second-tier conglomerates such as Tongyong Group, STX, and Kumho Industry filed for court receivership in the face of bankruptcies. The newspaper attributed the managerial failure of those companies to sluggish domestic consumption in South Korea and companies living on government subsidies.